All right, what's up, everybody? This is the Week 3 podcast. It's September 25th, 2013. It is my birthday today, so happy birthday to me. A couple things to go over. The league dues. Everybody still needs to get me their dues. Only one person has paid. So if you could get me your dues, hopefully by mid-season we can get all that squared away. So now I can dish out all the money come Week 16 for Christmas week. The big news this week, there was a trade. We had Hakeem Nicks going over to Fresh Legs and Darren Sproles going over to, who's that, Hammer Down. Hammer Down wanted a little double dip with Drew Brees and Darren Sproles, and in the end it really fucked Tommy Clemens up. Really fucked Fresh Legs in the end. We'll get to that in a little bit. But today we're joined by a special friend of the podcast, Matthew Sepchak, owner of
Charles in Charge.
Charles in Charge is
What
his
up?
team. So we're going to go through a couple questions with Matt, see how he feels about his big 3-0 start. So I guess that's where we'll get started. Let's talk about that big 3-0 start. Second year in a row, 3-0. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, it feels great. I mean, I'm not going to take all the credit I have. I've gotten some wins that I probably shouldn't have gotten, but a win is a win. This week there was probably 3 or 4 teams that scored more points than me, but fortunately for me, I played against Ricky.
Yeah, my team was fucking horrible this week. I don't even want to talk about it, but
a win.
We'll get to it in a little bit.
Yeah, a win is a win, and it feels great being 3-0.
And a loss is a loss. So this week you play Fresh Legs. How do you feel about going against Tommy this week, especially with Cam Newton on bye?
I feel strong, honestly. I feel real strong going into this week. Cam Newton on bye is not really a problem for me because I think Terrell Pryor is playing pretty well. So, I mean, that's not too comforting for me, but I still feel strong about the whole week in general.
Just a little note to Fresh Legs, if you are listening. Terrell Pryor did go down with a concussion, and there's some funky things going on in the background about how the Raiders handled it. So you might want to look into possibly getting a new quarterback. I think Alex Smith is available if that interests you.
Is that a serious note? Because I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
It actually came out today. Yeah, so. And finally here, Charles in Charge. Let's talk about your excessive posting of gifts this season. Really going out on a limb here. Excessive postings, more than 2 a week. I gotta say, I'm a big fan.
It's just like a way of shit talking online, where you don't actually have to say it, where you get a little GIF to say it for you. It's all fun and games.
Okay, all right. So let's get to this past week's games. Let's take a look. First game up, we have Optimus Stein against Charles in Charge. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Daryl Richardson, 1 play, 1 foot stepped on, and that's 0 points as he exits the game. So, fuck you, Daryl Richardson. Fuck you, Rams. Fuck you, Jeff Fisher. And the rest of my team, other than Calvin Johnson and Tony Romo, it's just putrid. I mean, you want to chime in here, Matt? You got anything here to? There's nothing good.
Daryl Richardson killed you. Vincent Jackson didn't help either.
There's not a lot of help.
But I mean, that's really where it was. I mean,
right.
this could have been a lot worse if C.J. Spiller will show up one of these days.
Although I did predict less than 50 yards for C.J. Spiller, so
yeah, I know.
So, but Jamal Charles and DeMarco Murray just carry you this week. DeMarco Murray with a huge game, just unreal.
If he stays healthy, DeMarco Murray, he's a beast. He's not a guy that's going to run. He's not a fast guy that's going to break 90-yard touchdowns, but he'll get you 7-8 yards a carry.
Agreed. So yes, so this is the second time in history that I've played Charles in Charge, and I have never won. So I have that to hang my hat on. Next game up, El Canuto against Foster Australian for championship. This game was pretty much decided by Antonio Brown. If it wasn't for Antonio Brown on Sunday Night Football going for 196 and 2 touchdowns. This is a pretty tight game, but El Canuto gets off the schneid, and Foster finally gets his first loss for the season.
I mean, given Foster had a pretty shitty output from Eli Manning, I mean, Victor Cruz having 25 receiving yards on 3 receptions is just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's just no good right there. And Aaron Rodgers, just 21 points. Like during that game, like if I would have told you the Packers scored 30 points, you would think Aaron Rodgers absolutely lit it up, and he didn't. So there's no production other than Aaron Rodgers and Eric Decker. I think for the week mostly it was low scoring week. It wasn't. There was a couple big performances, but a down week for fantasy scoring. All right, here it is, the most interesting game of the week. We got ABC Atlanta Blackcrackers going against Tommy Clemens and his fresh legs.
Let me ask you this, Rick: how many points did Hakeem Nicks have?
That would be 0.
And how many points did Darren Sproles have?
That would be. Let me check real quick. I believe it was right around 10. 10.35. So
Now, what was the final score of the game?
166 to 160.
Oh man, kick in the balls.
Wait, and then to get backdoored on Monday Night Football by Peyton Manning, just throwing 3 touchdowns right up your ass and 375 yards. That's the difference.
Yeah, but going into that game, if you're Tommy, you're not comfortable with that.
No,
I mean, it's still kicking the balls, but I mean, dude, at least he didn't light you up for 77 points.
Right. But Cam Newton hasn't played well all season. You get 40 from him and 38 from Jimmy Graham on Sunday. If you only would have had Darren Sproles, it probably would have made the difference. In fact, it did make the difference.
I mean, but both of these teams would have beat anybody else this week. So, I mean, you can't really say anything bad about it.
Just bad luck for Tommy. That's about it. All right, next up, we got Dos Vekas at double tight end set. Yeah. Sitting here week 1, Dos Vekas was just a force to be reckoned with. Just looked like a great team. Kaepernick lit it up week 1, and how do you get 9 fantasy points from your quarterback in this league?
That's the whole thing. It concerns me. His other numbers are great, but when you get 9 points from your quarterback, there's a problem. I think there's a problem when you get less than 20 from your quarterback.
Right.
And
like me last week.
Two consecutive weeks, 11 point something, and then 9.
I agree.
That 22.7 from Andy Dalton's looking pretty good.
Is it time to make a move to the red rifle?
You know what? I like Kaepernick, and I don't know what's going on in San Francisco. I might give him one more game.
One more game?
Yeah.
Is there some way he has to get Giovanni Bernard into that lineup after that performance? I think so. I think he's flex worthy. I would start Gio over Larry Fitzgerald right now. It's going out on a limb, but Larry's got that hamstring. He's a little hampered. I go with Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can. There's going to be an argument for it either way. But I think Giovanni Bernard is going to be a hell of a back with either this year coming up or next year.
Right. Double tight end set, just solid production up and down other than Andre Johnson. Really wasn't much here that I really jumped out at me.
Yeah, you can't really...
Demarius, he's got the Thomas twins out in Denver, Demarius and Julius, and they combined for 32. It's just solid performance up and down the board. Adrian Peterson, you know what you're going to get every week. Joik Bell was a nice little pickup. He dropped a nice coin on Joik Bell.
Yeah, he's a nice pickup, but is he going to have that game every week? I doubt it.
No, it's just as soon as Reggie Bush comes back, then Joik Bell's value goes way down. And the last game of this past week, I should say, Hammer Down against Palladino Licious. Well, I mean, what can you say about Hammer Down? You know, he finally gets a win. We can finally take him off the waiting list to get into Friends Hospital, and we can give him his shoelaces back so he doesn't kill himself in his basement. I mean, Drew Brees pretty much carries him to victory, and picking up Darren Sproles instead of having Hakeem Nicks gave him a little bit of breathing room.
Yep.
You know, he left Bradshaw on the bench, which was I could see doing that, especially getting Richardson this week, but. You know, nothing about this game really jumps out at me. Nothing spectacular. Just pretty much 2 bad teams going at it. That's what I see.
2 bad teams.
Teams going at it, yeah. I mean, there wasn't a lot of score. I mean, I really can't talk that much shit. I scored 100 points this week, and I barely got there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Palladino Licious this week. And you know what? I think Tony Romo's a better start for me this week, but I'm going to go with Tom Brady just so I have this Sunday night matchup of Tom Brady versus Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, for Palladino Licious, it's kind of hard to win a game when you only got 3 guys in double digits.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so looking forward to next week. What do we got here? We got Palladino Licious at Optimus Stein. Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to tell you exactly right now. I think I'm going to win. And that's it. I mean, I'm not impressed. I just saw that they updated their lineup today. They put Gronk in, so I hope Gronk starts for them so they don't get screwed.
I don't know if I like that play though. I mean,
no?
Back surgery and arm surgery. Back surgery is no joke to come back from. I don't know if you put him in the lineup right away.
First week.
I think maybe you see what he does. Did they? Is he playing all snaps? You don't know.
Yeah,
maybe he's only going to play a few snaps.
Right. Same thing. I have Le'Veon Bell on my bench, and he's expected to come back this week. So do I put him in there as one of my flex spots? Maybe over DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know. What else we got? We got Charles in charge against Fresh Legs. We pretty much already, talked about this game. You think you're going to win?
Absolutely.
Not even a question.
Not even a question.
Point prediction? You going to win by double digits?
I think Vic's going to have a big game for me this week. I'm going to go with Vic again. I'd still like to go back to RG3 at some point, but until he proves... This might even be the week to do that, but until he proves... Even though he's producing fantasy points, don't get me wrong, he's producing.
All junk points, right. Go ahead.
I just... Actually, I just want to root for the Eagles this week. And
Fair enough.
I like having Vic in there. I think he's going to do well this week.
Fair enough. Does Hakeem Nicks crack 0 points this week against that vaunted Chiefs defense?
Who knows what's going on in New York right now? That's the most shocking thing to me, that they're getting beaten badly and 0-3.
Yeah, it's bad right now.
They look absolutely terrible. They David Wilson this season. So that's a shocker for me.
All right. Next up, El Canuto against Hammer Down. Both teams 1-2 going into this game. You think?
I think Hammer Down's going to be back on the
winning
streak.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think his move with Sproles. I think Sproles having 10 points was a bad game for Sproles. So I think he's going to definitely have more than 10 points.
The Saints do play on Monday night this week. You like that? You like Drew Brees in primetime, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Big time, right? Against a 3-0 Miami Dolphins
I like Drew
team.
Brees anytime, but primetime's
just makes it even better with a cold one in hand.
3-0 Miami. That should be a pretty good game.
Yeah. All right. Atlanta Blackcrackers against my brother, Dos Vekas. Do you start Colin Kaepernick on Thursday night, short rest against the Rams, or do you go with the Red Rifle against the Browns on Sunday? Is really what it's going to come down to. I mean, for the Blackcrackers, what you're getting. You're going to get Peyton Manning.
You're going to get at least 30 from Peyton.
Right. You're going to get 30. Deshaun Jackson probably has a big game out in Denver. Trent Richardson slowly working his way into the lineup with the Colts. I say you make the move. The guy just hasn't performed. Dos
Vekas needs Dez Bryant to have a big game. He really does. He needs Dez Bryant. We know McCoy's going to have a good game.
Right.
He needs Dez Bryant to have a good game.
A monster game to win this week?
Yeah.
If he keeps Kaepernick in.
And regardless, he's going to need Dez Bryant to have a monster game.
You got a prediction
because
for this?
Manning's going to have a monster game.
You got a prediction for this game?
Like I said, it all depends on Dez Bryant and Larry. If he keeps Larry in there, it comes down to those two. I think so. So they have to really outscore the other flex players and the other wide receiver.
Interesting. And I actually didn't look at the lineups, and Chris did move Giovanni Bernard into that lineup just because Jordy Nelson was on bye. So it's like I'm psychic or something. And the last game, we got double tight end set taking on Foster Australian for championship. I talked to one of the co-owners of Foster this week. I talked to Joe, and he basically said, if Aaron Rodgers and Arian Foster don't have a big game, he's not going to win. And this week he's got Aaron Rodgers on bye, which means he's plugging in Joe Flacco at quarterback. I'm not in love with it.
I don't like that either. What's Foster's record again?
He's 2-1. 2-1, top the division.
I'll tell you what. This double tight end set is they're a really strong team in my book.
Yeah.
There's one team that I fear the most.
Really?
It's probably these. You know what it is? It's probably Peterson because he's always has big numbers. But then he's picked up this Julius Thomas guy.
Julius Thomas
out of nowhere.
Right.
And he's like right behind Jimmy Graham,
Right.
tight ends this year.
Right.
I mean, that was a great addition to having a great wide receiver.
And then he's got Demaryius Thomas. Just as long as Reggie Bush is out, he's got Joik Bell.
And Alfred Morris, he's going to come along this year.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you know Washington's going to keep force feeding on the ball. So, you got a prediction?
Double tight end set.
Big?
165 to 120.
Wow. Blowout. Not even close.
Not even close.
Hear that, Foster? Blowout this week. How does Victor Cruz do this week?
I thought Foster was Australian for retire.
And on that note, that's the end of the podcast. Again, give me your dues. Remember, we got 49ers and Rams tomorrow night, 8:30. So get your lineups in early if you have any 49ers or Rams. Paladino Licious, if you're listening, I will be benching Daryl Richardson. I hope to be getting rid of Greg Zuerlein and Greg the Leg. And even if Vernon Davis is healthy, I will be probably making Martellus Bennett my starter. I do not want any part of these Thursday matchups anymore. So with that, that's the podcast. I'd like to thank Matt of Charles in Charge for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.